See website for terms and conditions and full offer and demolition savings details. Contractors license 0091003, 0091017, and 0091387H.
1015 FM KDAWN.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Las Vegas. This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Going bell to bell with the best in professional wrestling news, entertainment, and lots of Sin City surprises from inside the squared circle. Now, let's get to all the exciting pro wrestling action and bring on the host. Here is Mark Hoke.
Good morning, everybody. How are we doing out there in Las Vegas and around the world? That's right. Of course, we're streaming on the Odyssey app and live streaming out there on YouTube and Facebook. And I would highly encourage you, if you have a second, hop on to that YouTube channel or Facebook, The Mark Hoke Show. Pretty simple. And you can interact with the show. We'd love to get your questions, thoughts, comments. If you want to say something mean, don't encourage that. Come on, it's Sunday morning. Maybe a little cranky from that daylight savings time that a lot of people like to whine about. But, that's okay. But we would love to get your thoughts on everything happening in pro wrestling. And, man, I'll tell you what, April is stacking up to be one hell of a month in the world of pro wrestling, and we're going to keep bringing it all to you as we get down into the stretch run for WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia. Oh, my God. The Rock got the taste slapped out of his mouth on Friday night, didn't he, kids? It's a little bit offensive for someone to say that you were a mistake. And Cody Rhodes did not appreciate that very much. We're going to talk about that. And, of course, we're getting ready for a new challenge to Gunther at WrestleMania. Someone's going to go after that Intercontinental title. One of 6 competitors. They're going to be shooting it out on Monday Night Raw. The winner is going to get a shot at the big man and try to end the longest Intercontinental title reign of all time. We're going to get into that one a little bit. Of course, AEW Revolution wrapped up the retirement of Sting. The Icon, it is over. His career is finished. Did he go out on top? Well, you missed it. That's too bad. This man won at night in Greensboro, North Carolina. We got that to cover. TNA Sacrifice also took place this week. That was Friday night. They're setting up to come in here in April as well. They'll be back in Las Vegas for their next pay-per-view. And some big things happening there. A couple of title changes and a huge victory for one of Las Vegas's favorites. I mean, just all over the place. It has been an amazing, amazing week. And we're getting ready for more pay-per-views. AEW Dynasty, a new pay-per-view coming up out of St. Louis for AEW. As well, I don't know if it's necessarily going to be the main event, but it might as well be. All sorts of crazy stuff going on. We're going to talk about it all for you today here on the Mark Hoke Show, the best in pro wrestling, here on 101.5 FM. It is the talk of Las Vegas. And we have a very special guest coming up. Now, the last time he was on, we had a little technical difficulties with our live stream, and I want to make sure we got him back on because he got a chance to interview the man himself, Sting, right before he hung it up. And Doc Chris Mueller from Bleacher Report is going to be on the show. He's going to be coming on sometime. We'd schedule him for the second hour, and that's still the plan. But Doc woke up a little early this morning, apparently. And I was talking to him, and he's texted me about 5 o'clock this morning. He's like, oh, my God, I woke up too early. Well, if you want to come on the show early, feel free. You're welcome. So whenever he gets on, he gets on. So we're going to have one of the great writers and interviewers from Bleacher Report coming on, Doc Chris Mueller, joining us here on the Mark Hoke Show to go over everything happening in pro wrestling with me, and it should be a great time. So I want to thank you for joining us. And like I said, once again, if you want to hop into that chat box, we would love to get your comments, your thoughts. It's your show. Well, it's my show, but we want you to be a part of it. Absolutely. So get on in there, take a second. And if you'd like to subscribe to the show on YouTube, that's really big for us. We've been getting a decent amount of little subscribers lately. We got a goal to hit, and we'd love to have you be a part of it. So if you can take a second to do that, it would be absolutely fantastic. So one of the big stories this week, aside from Sting, was the continued build towards this wild WrestleMania main event on night 2, where Cody Rhodes will be facing off with Roman Reigns, as the two of them will be battling it out for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. I wish they'd be wrestling to shorten the name of that championship, but that's okay. They can do what they want. But, of course, The Rock threw down the gauntlet after he acknowledged Roman Reigns as the head of the table and said, hey, here's what we're going to do, Cody and you crybabies. We're going to have a little tag match if you want to take it, Cody. You bring your buddy Seth Rollins along. Roman and I will take you on night 1. If you win, no bloodline. It's you and Roman, and that's it. And we all stay away. But if we win, it's bloodline rules. Anything goes, and I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that you don't win that championship. So the response was made. And actually, after Cody started talking, Seth stepped in and accepted the challenge. Of course, Seth Rollins is the world heavyweight champion, so he has the other world title in WWE. Roman steps in and made fun of Cody for not being the one to answer the question. And then The Rock got back into it and kind of laid into Cody a little bit. And Cody was not happy with The Rock after The Rock brought up, you got a couple of older siblings, right? Your brother's going to be a Hall of Famer soon, and your sister was a cheerleader for the Dallas Cowboys. They're 20 years older than you, aren't they? So what's the deal with that? Sounds like you were a mistake. And Cody stood there for a second, was going to say something, and then returned the slap that The Rock gave Cody at the WrestleMania press conference here in Las Vegas. The Rock stood there and held his position, and they went off the air because apparently The Rock went way long with a lot of stuff he was saying. That 21-minute promo, Rock, unfortunately, we love you, but you can't do that on TV. There's a time limit. And that's where things faded out. So here we are. Everybody's a little hot and bothered, but Cody Rhodes accepts the challenge. So night 1 now, oh boy, I'll tell you, this is getting very interesting because now both Cody, Seth, and actually now Roman as well are all going to be pulling double duty at WrestleMania this year. So night 1, you have a tag match with The Rock and Roman Reigns taking on Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. And Seth Rollins is slated to defend the World Heavyweight Championship against Drew McIntyre. Cody and Roman are wrestling on night 2 in Philadelphia. And just for fun, by the way, in case anybody forgot, Damian Priest is running around with the Money in the Bank briefcase, which gives him a shot at the world title or the Universal title at any time. And he's got to use it before WrestleMania is over or he forfeits it. Isn't that interesting, kids? So something's got to give on that too. So what do? Who's walking out with what? Now, I had a person that was when I also produced SportsX Radio and the Steve Sanchez show here during the week. Had somebody one of Ken's guests on SportsX Radio say that Damian Priest was going to walk out with the Universal Championship. So after Cody finishes the story, suggested that Damian Priest would cash in on Cody. They're insane, but that's okay. But what would be really interesting is if Seth loses, if the Cody and Seth lose this match on night one, Seth's hurt and all beat up. And of course, Rock and Roman and the boys take offense to the fact that Seth got stuck his nose into this thing in the first place, and they beat the crap out of him. And Damian Priest comes in and takes the title. And now you get, instead of having Seth on night 2, you've got Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. Huh. Is that the way it's going to go? I don't know. What do you think? Hop into our chat box on the Mark Hoke Show on YouTube or Facebook. Let me know what you think. But this is getting very intriguing. But of course, a lot of people are still expecting a Rock turn. The Rock's going to turn on Roman and cost him the Universal title, setting up Roman and The Rock at SummerSlam later this year. Part of the fun of all this is there are so many ways this could go. And there are more possibilities coming up now, because now we've got this crazy gauntlet match. They were teasing a 4-way match for Gunther at WrestleMania, but now instead we have a gauntlet match that the winner is going to be taking on Gunther for the Intercontinental title. Of course, Gunther is now the longest reigning Intercontinental champion, as he passed a Honky Tonk Man months ago. Of course, the Ring General is going to sit back and watch Ricochet, JD McDonough from Judgment Day, Sami Zayn, Chad Gable, Bronson Reed, and Shinsuke Nakamura duke it out on Monday night, and the winner will be taking him on at WrestleMania. Who will it be? Chad Gable has been putting out some great videos on this, and personally, that's my guy. I would love to see Chad Gable be the one. Of course, Chad, a former Olympian, and in wrestling, by the way, not shot putting or, biathlon or anything in wrestling. But I would very much enjoy that match. But could you see Shinsuke Nakamura, who's tangled with Gunther before? Yeah, maybe. Sami Zayn, the hero denied by Roman Reigns back in Elimination Chamber over a year ago before WrestleMania last year, and then ended up winning the tag titles with Kevin Owens, but never got that world championship, and would get this huge push and opportunity that a lot of fans would be into if he got to face off with Gunther and be the one to end this reign. Of course, who says it's going to end? But I think a lot of people are wondering if Gunther's going to finally get pushed up to the main event level in WWE. Pretty fascinating stuff there, but that is going to be a huge match. Of course, you still got Bronson Reed out there. JD McDonough, Ricochet, probably not going to win that match, but of course, Ricochet's tangled with Gunther before, and JD McDonough has a history with Gunther, so wouldn't expect it, but they're there. So pretty interesting stuff going on with the Intercontinental title as well. And then, of course, Bayley got turned on by Dakota Kai. Bayley is going to be facing off with Io Sky, and of course, she was dumped by her Damage Control teammates. The group that she helped form has ousted her, and Dakota Kai, her last remaining pal, said, "See ya. I'm with them." Io Sky and Asuka and Kairi Sane. And now she's all alone. Poor Bayley. Bad Bayley. It has bit her in the buttocks. And Naomi was sitting back in the back feeling bad. Of course, Naomi just came back to WWE, had a conversation with Bianca Belair. There's a lot of bees in this. And Bianca, who has been being tortured by Bayley and the gang, said, "I got nothing for her." And Naomi said, I feel bad. Bianca's like, forget that. She's on her own, man. I got nothing for her. Does Naomi get involved in this? I don't know. I want Naomi to be Bad Naomi. She'd like to be Bad Trinity, which is a real name, of course, what she wrestled in TNA while she was gone. So it looks like maybe Naomi's going to get involved in this whole thing. I don't know. I'm not big on that. I want her to be in the bloodline. That's where I want that to go. But so some interesting developments going on in WWE as the road to WrestleMania continues. Logan Paul getting in trouble with Randy Orton and Kevin Owens, as well as Logan Paul's business partner KSI takes a RKO from Randy Orton. He's been waiting for that his whole life. Congratulations to KSI. You got RKO'd. Way to go. Congratulations, buddy. Right on the new Prime logo in the middle of the WWE ring. You're a winner, sir. Good job. Oh, it's amazing how things go sometimes in this world, I'll tell you. Well, speaking of how things go in the world, we're going to go and take a break here on the Mark Hoke Show, the best in pro wrestling news and entertainment. As when we come back, we're going to take a look at AEW Revolution as we say goodbye to one of the true legends in the industry, Sting. But boy, Darby Allin may have stolen the show if you missed it. Yikes. Yeah, he took a little bit of a fall. Stick around, everybody. We'll be right back here on KDAWN 101.5 FM.
If you need to sell your house,
talk to Aaron Taylor.
You want to sell it fast and get the most cash, talk to Aaron Taylor,
the real estate guy.
Hey, Nevada, it's Aaron Taylor and Jacob Taylor, your real estate guys. You deserve the best, and we deliver every time.
That's right, Dad. No interest cash advances for sellers for anything needed. We've got you covered.
Also, we buy distressed properties in 5 days or less.
Ever wondered who's really representing you when you look at new builds? Not those sales reps employed by the builders. You need the real estate guys to watch your back.
And with interest rates dropping, inventory shrinking, and values increasing, sellers, now is the time to get you top dollar for your home.
So trust the experts and let's make your real estate dreams a reality. We're not just agents. We are your winning team for all of your real estate needs.
So call the real estate guys today, 702-310-6683. That's 702-310-MOVE. eXp Realty, license number 38886. Call for details.
talk to Aaron Taylor,
The real estate guy.
If you live in Clark County, you are at risk of developing non-smoking lung cancer. Radon is a naturally occurring radioactive gas that gets into homes and increases one's risk of lung cancer, and it exists here in Clark County. Radon is colorless and odorless, so the only way you know if your radon level is elevated in your home or office is by testing. To get your free test kit, visit our website with a new interactive map to find a pickup location nearest you at www.extension.unr.edu/radon. 21,000 people die of lung cancer each year, and Nevadans are at a higher risk. If an elevated level of radon is found, there are ways to reduce it and lower the risk of getting lung cancer. Get your free test kit today. Visit our website with a new interactive map to find a pickup location nearest you at www.extension.unr.edu/radon. Sponsored by the University of Nevada, Reno Extension's Radon Education Program, and aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
My son stopped talking to me. He didn't want to leave his room.
I didn't feel like talking to anyone. I just wanted to be alone.
I was really worried about my daughter. She was angry all the time.
I felt so depressed.
I was really worried about my daughter.
I couldn't do anything right. I was always getting yelled at.
My son told me he wanted to hurt himself.
I was so scared.
I was feeling hopeless. It was all too much.
We needed help.
We needed help.
We needed help.
We needed help.
I needed help.
I called the mobile crisis response team, and we met with them that same day.
A crisis team came to my house and helped me talk to my parents about how I was feeling.
I called the mobile crisis response team. They met with us that day. I talked to them about how I was feeling, and it really helped.
Sometimes understanding what children are experiencing can be difficult. The Nevada Children's Mobile Crisis Response Team provides mental health intervention and support. Learn more at nocrisis.com.
This message sponsored by the FBI Las Vegas Citizens Academy Alumni Association, a nonprofit organization separate and apart from the FBI in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association.
101.5 FM KDAWN.
This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Here again, your host, Mark Hoke.
And we return to the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN 101.5 FM. This is the talk of Las Vegas. The best in pro wrestling news and entertainment. That's right, kids. Bell to bell, rope to rope, ladder to ladder, broken pane of glass to broken pane of glass. Why am I talking about broken panes of glass? Well, if you missed it, AEW Revolution, big pay-per-view down in Greensboro, North Carolina. As we said goodbye to the icon Sting, the reviews are in, kids, and this ended up being one of AEW's best pay-per-views of all time. Unbelievable. And they sold that place out. Of course, the site of Sting's incredible 45-minute match that put him on the map, the draw with Ric Flair on Clash of the Champions, where Sting had challenged for the world title and came up short, but really established himself as one of the top guys in the sport and never looked back from there. So the Stinger got to say goodbye here that night, and it was an amazing evening. I really wish I could have gotten out to Greensboro because it was just an incredible evening. Some great luminaries of the sport as Lex Luger and Magnum TA, Nikita Koloff were in attendance. Ric Flair and Rick Steamboat got involved in that main event match. But top to bottom, a pretty good card. Pretty good card. Interesting stuff going on with the I won't say the main event, but the World Championship match. And we're going to be talking to Doc Chris Mueller about that whole night, as he's pretty big AEW guy for Bleacher Report. He'll be on in the second hour. So we'll look forward to talking to him about that. Of course, he interviewed Sting before this event, and we're going to get his insights and what it was like to talk to the man and see what he had to say. So it'd be fun to talk to Doc and get a pretty unique perspective and wrap a bow on the career of the Stinger. But just to kind of give you a rundown on what happened at AEW Revolution, just to start things off, we had the Bang Bang Scissor Gang. Of course, that's the Acclaimed Billy Gunn teaming with the Guns and Jay White. Knocked off Jeff Jarrett and his crew plus Private Party. So had a little 12-man tag match. One of those crazy matches they love to do to kick things off to open the show up. Chris Statlander, Will Nightingale, knock off Julia Hart and Sky Blue. Christian Cage and his usual evil self with his little patriarchy gang knock off Daniel Garcia to retain the TNT championship. Of course, later on in the week, we had some fun with him and Adam Copeland. Of course, you WWE people may know him better as Edge, but Edge, and of course, Adam Copeland attacked him this week on TV. So they're setting up for an upcoming match. So that should be something interesting. Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson put on a clinic, kids, and Danielson he beat the hell out of Eddie for most of the match, but Eddie comes out on top, gets a pinfall victory, and Bryan Danielson shakes Eddie Kingston's hand at the end, earning his respect. And this was one of the more talked about matches on the card, but Eddie Kingston, a big victory there. And Bryan Danielson, interestingly enough, takes another loss. Of course, many people consider Bryan to be the best wrestler in the world. But he's kind of on his farewell tour, at least for the full-time stuff. But another loss for Bryan Danielson. But he's going to have another big match coming up here in April. We're going to talk about that later on as well. But a huge win for Eddie Kingston, as the guy who was just down and out for so long, has been getting some huge victories lately. Of course, won the Continental Classic and now follows that up with a massive victory over Bryan Danielson here at Revolution in Greensboro. Wardlow wins this all-star scramble match. Of course, this was supposed to be the meat match, but a couple guys got hurt. So they threw this one together as he defeats Chris Jericho, Powerhouse Hobbs, Lance Archer, Hook, Brian Cage, Magnus, and Dante Martin to win this all-star scramble match. He wins a shot at the AEW World Championship. And of course, he and his Undisputed Kingdom teammates had said at the start, when this group formed, when they screwed over MJF, Wardlow was going to win the world championship and then eventually turn it over to Adam Cole when Cole had healed from this really bad ankle injury. Well, that match is coming up next week. So Wardlow will get his shot at Samoa Joe, and the stop and start career of Wardlow in AEW. Well, the rocket's on the back now. The question is, will Wardlow finally claim the AEW world title? Of course, he's been TNT champion a couple times, which is AEW's secondary title, like the Intercontinental title in WWE. But wow, this is going to be a very interesting night to see if Wardlow can hold off Samoa Joe. And of course, Samoa Joe helped take care of MJF and set him up for the defeat and took the world title off MJF. Is it time for Samoa Joe to pay the piper? We're going to find out when Wardlow takes him on soon. So big win for Wardlow. Roderick Strong knocks off Orange Cassidy, wins the AEW International Championship. So the belts are starting to head the way of the Undisputed Kingdom, kind of like what happened in TNA, where the main group there is starting to capture gold and consolidate everything over there. AEW maybe putting their top group on top as well. So Roderick Strong takes out Orange Cassidy, and the Undisputed Kingdom going to get all the belts. We'll see. But Roderick Strong wins the AEW International title. Blackpool Combat Club, Jon Moxley, Claudio, and by the way, the System. Excuse me. Sorry, that escaped me for a second. I'm in AEW land right now. Blackpool Combat Club, Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli knock off FTR by a technical submission. So the Blackpool Combat Club take out FTR. Huge win for them in a tag match. And of course, now that Sting and Darby Allin won their match, but Sting retired, the AEW World Tag Team titles are now vacant. So there's going to be a tournament for those titles, and that is very intriguing that we could see the BCC certainly at least entering that tournament. Will they win it? Yeah, I'd be okay with that. But huge win for Mox and Claudio as they make their way towards a possible run at the AEW World Tag titles. Win over FTR, the best tag team in the world, doesn't hurt. Timeless Tony Storm beats Deonna Purrazzo. So the first shot at the AEW women's title for Purrazzo is a no-go as she is defeated by Tony Storm, and the Timeless One continues her reign as AEW Women's World Champion. So we're going to get to see a lot more black and white shots, more movies. So congratulations to Tony Storm as she holds on. And boy, those videos, I'll tell you what, if you didn't see the media scrum, whoa, she is playing this up like you wouldn't believe. And what a lot of people are saying is the other match of the night, Will Ospreay took out Takeshita in a singles match. And that, of course, Will Ospreay just officially became part of AEW, and Ospreay got rave reviews. A lot of people, I mean, there's a massive debate right now on who the best wrestler in the world is, and you can fight about that all day long. But Ospreay put on a show, and so many luminaries that were in the audience said they've never seen anything like Ospreay. Those two were absolute magic at AEW Revolution and came up big. And I mean, if you haven't seen Will Ospreay, you are missing something really special. This guy is destined to be on top of AEW. And, you know, with him and now Okada also coming to AEW. This roster, and especially at the top, is just stacked with incredible wrestlers. So if you haven't been watching AEW lately, oh my Lord, you better get on it, because you're going to see things that you have never seen before. I promise you that. But a big win for Will Ospreay at AEW Revolution. And of course, this is the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN 101.5 FM. Talk of Las Vegas. We're going through AEW Revolution pay-per-view that took place on Sunday. Samoa Joe, and this one got some people talking. The world champ wins a triple threat match between Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland. And they set up a story in this where it appeared that Page taps out after being put in the coquina clutch by Samoa Joe, so submission hold, to ensure that Swerve did not win the title. So he essentially threw the match to make sure that Swerve didn't win it. This one, some people didn't like how that worked out. Very controversial, weird finish on it. But Page and Strickland's rivalry has just been off the charts. And apparently the story at this point is Page hates Strickland so much that he would do anything to make sure that he won't win the world title, including throw away his own opportunity to do it. Yeah, I don't know. But we're going to talk to Doc Chris Mueller about that one. It's an interesting tactic, to say the least. But Samoa Joe retains the AEW World Championship. We'll see if he survives next week. I should say this week, actually. But Samoa Joe walks out with that belt. Then Sting and Darby Allin finishing off the Stinger's career. Of course, he comes out with Ric Flair and his two sons, Garrett and Steve Borden Jr. And really cool. One of the sons is the California Cool Stinger. The other one is NW Wolfpack Sting. They come out and everybody's beating each other up for a while. And as the match goes on, Darby does a spot with a ladder in the ring. Is going to jump on one of the Young Bucks where there is a large pane of glass on chairs outside of the ring. So this is a good 20-foot plus drop. And Darby jumps off the ladder. Buck gets out of the way. And Darby goes through the glass. And somewhat of a dangerous spot. And some people were saying that it wasn't real safe for the audience either, because that glass went everywhere. Somehow Darby only gets out of this with 12 stitches, which is pretty surprising. But then as Darby's laid out for most of the match, Sting is trying to fight off the Young Bucks the whole time. Ricky Steamboat and Ric Flair get involved in this thing. So you've got an old school flair to this thing too, pardon the pun. They're trying to protect Sting. Sting just goes crazy, doing kickouts at one from the Bucks finishes. And finally, Darby gets back in the fray, and Sting ends up getting the win. And just a massive celebration in Greensboro, North Carolina. But a huge win and a great finish for, well, one of the great icons of pro wrestling. And you can't say enough about what Sting contributed to pro wrestling. Of course, obviously did the time in Jim Crockett Promotions and TNA. Certainly was a stalwart there, just would not go to WWE forever, and then finally went. And quite frankly, got misused in WWE before the big neck injury that took him out for a very long time. And really, a lot of people have said, and I don't know if I can disagree, was used just about perfectly in AEW. They did a terrific job for the 3 years he was there and finished it out the right way. You can't imagine a guy that, signed when he signed on over there, 61 years old. They kept him safe. But he did a lot of crazy spots. We have an interview with Darby Allin where he said Sting insisted, I'm going to do this the right way. I'm going to do the crazy stuff. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And that's it. I'm going out the way I want to go out. And I'm not going to do it in a lame way. And he did. And, just an unreal finish. And it couldn't have gone too much better for him. It really couldn't have. And much respect to the Stinger, Steve Borden, and a great guy, man of God. And he is going to be remembered for a very long time in this industry. Where remember the California cool dude, the Crow style in the NWO, this run, the TNA run, whatever you want to think about him as, or, whatever. Remember the Four Horsemen, the battles with Ric Flair, Van Vader, or Big Van Vader, the battles with him and the NWO. Just such an amazing performer, and a guy that you are not going to find anybody that said anything bad about him, and someone that will transcend this industry for a very, very long time. And congratulations to Sting. And by the way, he's going to be at the Vegas Toy Show coming up here over WrestleMania weekend. So if you're not going to WrestleMania, you're going to get a chance to go meet Sting, and highly recommend you do it. Highly recommend it. So there's your wrap on AEW Revolution, a terrific night last Sunday. And we head into AEW Dynasty in St. Louis in late April. And boy, what a month it's going to be, with 3 big pay-per-views from the 3 top companies coming up here. Wow, it's going to be something else. And we've got a whole lot more, too, as we're going to talk about TNA. Josh Alexander goes down to a Vegas favorite. A couple tag titles change hands and a whole lot more. And we've got some new members of the WWE Hall of Fame coming up, too. So stick around here on the Mark Hoke Show, the best in pro wrestling news and entertainment on 101.5 FM. We will be right back.
Is politics freaking you out these days? Is the news freaking you out? It's freaking me out. Join us Monday through Friday, 10 p.m. to midnight, right here on 101.5 FM. We talk about everything from politics to religion and everything in between. Perilous World Radio.
Teeth are amazing. That's why at Affordable Dentures and Implants, we believe it's time the world sees your smile. With new financing options, you don't need to wait to get your smile back. Our practices in Las Vegas and Henderson are open to serve you. Schedule a free new smile consultation. Call 1-800-DENTURE or visit affordabledentures.com to find a location near you. That's 1-800-DENTURE or visit affordabledentures.com. Affordable Dentures and Implants. Go ahead and smile.
Go ahead and smile.
Hey everyone, it's Joey from Sky Diamonds in Town Square. Well, it's spring cleaning time. Take advantage of our spring cleaning liquidation sale. For one weekend only, March 15th, 16th, and 17th. All merchandise more than 1 year old is 60% off. Time to make room for the new designs. Mark down the dates on your calendar, March 15th, 16th, and 17th. 60% off all merchandise in the store more than 1 year old. Remember, don't walk, run to Sky Diamonds in Town Square.
Hey, you confused about real estate? Sean Hannity here, and I can tell you as an active real estate investor, well, just like the stock market, it can go up one day and down the next. Home values and sales, they fluctuate on a dime. Now, even though I bought and sold homes for years all across this great country, one thing I will always do is partner with a sharp real estate agent that truly studies local and national market trends, that knows the real value of homes, and most importantly, knows how to generate demand regardless of the market. And the good news is you have a truly amazing agent right in your backyard. I'm talking about Rick and Terry Brenkus of Keller Williams Realty, the marketplace. They attract hundreds of buyers every week. Rick and Terry spend thousands of dollars every month. Now, that helps you generate multiple offers and sell your home for the most money possible. Plus, it's like getting an immediate offer on your home, because if your home doesn't sell for the price and the deadline you agree to, they will have it bought for cash. Now, real estate doesn't have to be frustrating or scary. And if I lived in Vegas and needed to sell my home, no question, I'd be calling Rick and Terry right now. And you can call them at 702-456-5959 or just go online at thebrenkusteam.com and consider your home sold.
The FBI is engaged in a nationwide effort to build public awareness of hate crimes and encourage reporting to law enforcement. enforcement. Hate crimes include crimes committed on the basis of the victim's perceived or actual race, color, religion, national origin, sexual orientation, gender identity, or disability. Hate crimes are not only an attack on the victim, they are meant to threaten and intimidate an entire community. If you believe you are a victim or a witness of a hate crime, we encourage you to report it to the FBI by calling 1-800-CALL-FBI or submit a tip at tips.fbi.gov. You may remain anonymous. Again, report suspected hate crimes by calling 1-800-CALL-FBI or submit a tip at tips.fbi.gov. The FBI works to protect all victims of crimes, regardless of their country of national origin or immigration status. The FBI encourages victims and witnesses of any hate-related incident to report it to law enforcement. This message sponsored by the FBI Las Vegas Division, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
For 30 years, the LGBTQ Center of Nevada has been a safe and welcoming place to celebrate and serve the entire community. The center advocates for the empowerment and safety of everyone. It provides wellness services for better mental, physical, and holistic health. And the center connects people to the community. Learn more at thecenterlv.org. This message is sponsored by a grant through the Sands Corporation, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
What's keeping you up at night? For many baby boomers, it's questions about retirement. Tune in Saturday mornings at 10 for Golden Years, a roadmap to navigate retirement with Mark Cordner of Golden Years Financial, right here on 101.5.
101.5 FM KDAWN.
You're listening to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Vegas, The Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Now, here again is Mark Hoke.
And we are back here on 101.5 FM. It is the talk of Las Vegas. That's the best in pro wrestling news and entertainment. Worldwide, planetary domination. That's what we do here on your Sunday morning. Now everybody's getting ready to watch a little hoops, I would imagine. Yeah, maybe going to church. Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea either. Yeah, say hi to God for me, and tell him we'll drop a little elbow for him on these spirits of evil. But that's what we do. Just having a great time, and thank you for tuning in. We certainly do appreciate it. And once again, don't forget, we're out there streaming right now. And if you want to get your thoughts in on what's happening in pro wrestling, hop into our chat boxes on YouTube or Facebook. I'll see them. We'll answer them. That's what we do. And of course, we've got Doc Chris Mueller coming up from Bleacher Report in the second hour. He's going to join us, and we're going to talk all sorts of stuff about AEW and WrestleMania and TNA and just all sorts of little tidbits and news and notes. Should be a great time. And Doc, terrific guy, and does some unbelievable summaries. I absolutely love reading his work, and he's one of the best in the business for sure. And we'll look forward to having Doc Chris Mueller join us in hour number 2 of the Mark Hoke Show here on 101.5 FM, the talk of Las Vegas. So make sure you stick around because we got a whole lot more to discuss. And of course, you just interviewed the Stinger too. So we'll see how that went and what that was like for him to get to do that. I know that was one of his first interviews he ever did for Bleacher Report, and kind of went full circle with Sting, and we'll have a lot of fun talking about that with him. Now, of course, TNA Sacrifice happened on Friday night as well. And of course, they're going to be back here coming up in just a little bit as they make their return to Las Vegas for TNA Rebellion on April 20th. So you better be ready for double pay-per-views here coming up, as the TNA Rebellion is going to be here. And then they have TV tapings the day after on the 21st. That's going to be down at the Palms. So get your tickets for that. And of course, then AEW has their pay-per-view coming up on the 21st. So what a busy couple of days that's going to be. Yikes. I just wonder if I should make some plans and try to pull some double duty. I don't know. We'll have to figure that one out. But should be a great time, and I would highly encourage you on that Saturday to get over there for TNA Rebellion. Had a blast here for Hard to Kill back in January. So returning to the Palms at the Pearl Theater, great sight. But a huge night for TNA Sacrifice, as we had both sets of tag team championships change hands. Crazy Steve won the or defended the TNA Digital Media title, knocked off Joe Hendry, and I still believe in Joe Hendry, by the way. Had to get that in. Speedball Mountain got a tag win over the Rascals. Nick Nemeth beat Steve Macklin, so the former Dolph Ziggler continues his climb after he joined up with TNA. But the system, Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers, Eddie got a little help from his wife, but they win the TNA World Tag Team titles from ABC. Of course, that's Chris Bay from right here in Las Vegas and Ace Austin. So they win the tag belts. So we have new TNA Tag Team champions. PCO, the dead man, the other dead man. They just resuscitate him every match. I don't know how he can handle it. Beats Khan. And the TNA Knockout Tag Team titles. And this one was a shocker, because MK Ultra had just lost the belts and regained them. And of course, this is MK Ultra, a really good team. Killer Kelly and Namasha Slamovich. But Spitfire, Danny Luna, and Jody Threat take the titles. So just after a lot of people were like, well, MK Ultra should have never lost them in the first place. Well, now they lost them twice. So a big win for Spitfire. Hammerstone in the second of this series now with Josh Alexander, the former two-time TNA World Champ. Hammerstone, on a little help from a low blow, takes out Josh Alexander. Of course, Hammerstone, you've seen him a lot here in Las Vegas, and of course was the former longtime MLW World Champion. Takes out Josh Alexander, did a little promo after the match with Josh Alexander's signature headgear in his hand. So I'm sure those two are not done. Of course, those two tore it up here in Las Vegas when they were here in January. So Hammerstone making some noise, but a big win for him. So congrats to Hammerstone taking out Josh Alexander. Mustafa Ali and the Grizzled Young Vets. Of course, Ali in his debut match won the X Division title. Those guys get a win on the Time Machine Boys. Of course, that's the Motor City Machine Guns and Kushida. Jordan Grace successfully defends her TNA Knockouts World Championship. And then Moose, also a member of the system, beats Eric Young to retain his TNA World Championship. So a pretty interesting night at TNA Sacrifice. But both tag titles change hands this weekend in TNA. So things keep moving fast there. And but really, I thought the stunner of the night was the TNA Knockouts tag team titles changing hands again. Interesting booking. Well, it's their gang. They know what they're doing. So we'll see what MK Ultra responds with. But that's your TNA Sacrifice results. And then before we get out of here for hour number one, just a couple other little things to hit before we have Doc Chris Mueller coming in for hour number two. We have 3 soon-to-be inductees in the WWE Hall of Fame, and 3 pretty good choices. I cannot complain. A lot of times, you get an early headliner, and then someone like, okay, they're all right. This is not an all right group so far. This is pretty good. Paul Heyman was the first inductee. So, of course, he is currently managing he is the advisor to the counsel to the Bloodline. He was the founder of ECW and longtime manager, and has just been one of the great influences in professional wrestling. Paul Heyman, the first inductee. And then you followed up with Bull Nakano, one of the legendary female performers of all time. And she is now going to be in the WWE Hall of Fame. And then one of my favorite teams of all time. And these guys were getting it done in Florida and across the Mid-Atlantic. The U.S. Express, Barry Windham and Mike Rotunda. will be going in together, as Triple H just let them know on a video call. So congratulations to those guys. Of course, just one of the great teams of all time. Very excited to see them heading into the WWE Hall of Fame. And that's going to wrap up hour number 1. And we get ready for Doc Chris Mueller coming up in hour number 2 from Bleacher Report, as we're going to have a great time talking to him about what's going on in AEW, his reaction to AEW Revolution, WrestleMania. The road is getting crazy going to Philadelphia, and so much more. Stick around. Give us a follow on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, Facebook, The Mark Hoke Show, markhokeshow.com. We'll be back for hour 2 just a little bit.
Want more of The Mark Hoke Show? Follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, like us on Facebook at The Mark Hoke Show, and visit markhokeshow.com to keep up with everything happening with the show. And remember to check out all of our archive shows on YouTube at The Mark Hoke Show, and download our podcasts at markhokeshow.podbean.com and all your favorite podcast outlets. So join the Mark Hoke Show family today, and thanks for listening.
Attention Las Vegas homeowners. Looking for a kitchen remodel, bath upgrade, or total home makeover? The Big Home Show is back. The Home Improvement and Backyard Show is now open at World Market Center. Meet with decorating, remodeling, and landscaping vendors for special savings on your next home project. Parking is free. Doors open today 10 to 4. Today's the final day. Don't miss the Home Improvement and Backyard Expo, today only at World Market Center. Info at lvhomeshows.com.
Richard Harris Law Firm.
From everywhere they call in, Carson City, Carlin, Winnemucca, Elko, Sparks, and Vegas. All those wins have made us famous.
When they're injured, more Nevadans turn to the Richard Harris Law Firm. Because no one knows Nevada like we do. Call 444-4444.
Henderson, Reno, West Wendover. Call us up. We'll talk things over. And don't forget Pahrump.
How do you give hope to a child in the foster care system? It starts with your heart. That tug you feel on yours when you hear that children are waiting for a stable, loving voice to speak up for their best interests. And then it becomes your time. What started out as a feeling that maybe you could make a difference becomes the difference. Change a child's story. There is a child waiting for a volunteer like you.
Please volunteer 2 hours a week as a court-appointed special advocate. Call 702-455-CASA.
You're pregnant, and no matter what you do, no matter what you try, you can't stop using alcohol, drugs, or tobacco. But no matter how lost you are, how far along you are, it's not too late. There's always hope, and there are many safe places that can help you stop using. In Nevada, pregnant women are given the highest priority for substance use treatment. Low-cost treatment options may be available so you and your baby can get healthy now. If you or someone you love is pregnant or thinking about getting pregnant and using alcohol, drugs, or tobacco, visit SoberMomsHealthyBabies.org or call 211 to find help today. SoberMomsHealthyBabies.org also has resources for healthcare providers, friends, and family. If you want to help someone who's pregnant and using, visit SoberMomsHealthyBabies.org or call 211 today. Sponsored by the Nevada Division of Public and Behavioral Health and in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
Spring training is here, and the free Odyssey app has everything you need to get ready for opening day. In-depth team coverage from the biggest sports radio stations across the country, exclusive interviews with players, managers, and MLB insiders, and podcasts dedicated to your favorite team. Listen live to the latest breaking news from around the league, or choose from a list of topics and listen on demand. It's all on the free Odyssey app. Download it today. AUDACY.
KMXB HD3 Henderson, K260HCS Las Vegas. Always live on the free Odyssey app. 1015 FM KDAWN.
Stumping in Georgia. I'm Kathleen Maloney, Fox News. President Biden and former President Trump both holding rallies in Georgia this weekend ahead of the state's primaries on Tuesday. Senator Nancy Mace urging voters to avoid legal distractions surrounding Trump.
You know, the court cases, the lawsuits, that has nothing to do with you or me, it doesn't affect the American people. The chaos that Joe Biden has created by having a wide open border affects every single American.
The South Carolina Republican on ABC's This Week. Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock addressing the controversy involving Fulton County DA Franny Willis and Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade in the election interference case against Donald Trump in Georgia.
I think this case is being played out before a judge, and that judge will have to make a decision not based on optics, but based on the law.
He was on NBC's Meet the Press. This Tuesday, the president and prime minister of Poland will visit the White House to meet with President Biden.
A White House statement says President Biden will welcome President Andrzej Duda and Prime Minister Donald Tusk of Poland Tuesday. A White House statement says the leaders will reaffirm support for Ukraine against Russia's brutal war. The visit coming just days after President Biden said this at his State of the Union.
If anybody in this room thinks Putin will stop at Ukraine, I assure you he will not.
There have been tensions between Ukraine and Poland, though, mostly over Ukrainian grain imports, which undercut Polish grain prices. Polish farmers have also been protesting outside Parliament, demanding the country withdraw from the EU's Green Deal, which has limited their production and use of pesticides. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
Nearly 300 students have been abducted from a school in Nigeria by gunmen. Authorities said at least 100 children are aged 12 or even younger. America is listening to Fox News.
From the Fox News Podcast Network.
I'm Emily Campagno, and this is the Fox True Crime Podcast.
And I had nothing to do with her disappearance, but people still accuse me of it.
I sit down with the people who lived the nightmares.
I was in shock. I was just devastated.
The investigators who tirelessly worked on the case.
I feel for their families, and I really hope that they can catch this guy.
Bringing you closer to the story than you ever thought possible.
Listen and follow now at foxnewspodcasts.com or wherever you get your podcasts. From the Fox News Podcasts Network. Listen to the all-new Bret Baier podcast featuring Common Ground, talking to lawmakers weekly from opposite sides of the political spectrum about the issues of the day and how Americans can find common ground in a politicized world.
That's just not happening on Capitol Hill. It takes leadership, right?
Yeah, it absolutely does.
Along with all your Bret Baier favorites like the campaign, the candidates, the all-star panel, and much more. Available now at foxnewspodcasts.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Las Vegas. This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Going bell to bell with the best in professional wrestling news, entertainment, and lots of Sin City surprises from inside the squared circle. Now, let's get to all the exciting pro wrestling action and bring on the host. Here is Mark Hoke.
Oh, it's a show so nice. We're doing another hour twice or something like that, just for fun. No, just because I said so. That's what we do. It's the best in pro wrestling news and entertainment here on KDAWN 101.5 FM. The talk of Las Vegas. How's everybody holding up for your daylight savings time? You got your coffee? You feeling good? Done whining about losing an hour of sleep? I sure hope so, because we're trying to have some fun here on the best in pro wrestling news and entertainment. We can't have fun if you're all cranky and upset. Well, let's talk a little pro wrestling, shall we? Let's have a great time. Come on, Vegas. Let's get it rolling. We're the city that never sleeps, man. We got pay-per-views coming here. We got all sorts of great wrestling action. Got to enjoy it. That's what I'm here for. Your humble, lovable little host, Mark Hoke. Thanks for joining me. I do appreciate it as we get ready for just so much going on. The road to WrestleMania. Man, Impact is coming, or TNA is coming here soon, and I guess we can soon say that AEW is going to be joining the fray. I would imagine Double or Nothing, that announcement will be soon. So brace yourselves for Memorial Day weekend, as that craziness will be hitting Las Vegas, I would imagine. And, we'll be seeing a lot of our great friends in the wrestling media invading this fantastic city. And one of those people who I'm sure will be invading, we got to get him out here. We have to. I want to sit there and just look over his shoulder as he's writing his review. AEW Double or Nothing. He's laughing already. I love it. From Bleacher Report, Doc Chris Mueller. Doc, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Thanks for having me back.
Oh man, I'm so happy you're here with no technical difficulties. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, we're using StreamYard like a real professional.
Yeah, because we had, it was funny because the last time he was on, there was some sort of crazy computer glitch, and it turned out we just had to reset the computer, which was just stupid.
I mean, unplugging it and plugging it back in is usually what what fixes a technical glitch, right?
Unbelievable. But yeah, so I'm glad you're here, and thank you for joining me. I do appreciate it, and of course does unbelievable work on Bleacher Report.
Don't oversell it.
No, I'm not overselling it. I'm not, dude. This is, I am dead serious about this, folks. When I get up to do this show and I am pulling information, one of the places that I go to get summaries for stuff that happened during the week, if I didn't happen to get to see it, or even when I did, and I need to have stuff in front of me, I go to this man's work. I kid you not. Great opinions. Don't always agree, but most of the time we're pretty simpatico. So I always recommend checking out Bleacher Report and Doc's work. It's amazing.
So. I appreciate that, but I definitely don't review every show. We have a really great team. It's me, Eric Beeston, Kevin Burge, Chris Rowling. I'm trying to remember if anybody else contributes regularly beyond that, but I'm sure I'm leaving somebody out and I'm going to feel like an idiot in a minute. But yeah, like we have a team of guys who have all been there for years consistently. Like a lot of websites you'll go to, you'll see the names on the bylines changing every once in a while and people cycle in and out. You've been able to see me, Kevin, Eric, and Graham all on Bleacher Report for about a decade.
Yeah.
And Phil has been there for several years now. I don't like to take any credit for it because it's his accomplishments and work that got him the job. But I did like help bring Phil on. I'm very proud of that because Phil's a great guy and I love that we have him as part of our team. So yeah, like being part of that team at Bleacher Report is amazing because it's been one consistent team almost the entire time I've been there pretty much. Like we've lost one or two people along the way and gained one or two more, but there's like a core group of guys that have been there for years.
Yeah, Eric's pretty awesome too, by the way.
I love Eric. Like Eric's legitimately a friend. And like anytime me or that guy need a favor at like covering a show because something comes up, like we've done it a million times. Like he's the best.
Yeah, it's terrific coverage of Bleacher Report. So make sure you guys check that out. It is absolutely outstanding. Now, before we get into AEW Revolution, Doc, you got a chance to have a little chat with Sting before this whole thing wrapped up. I know and this was kind of a full circle moment for you too. Tell everybody a little bit about that and how this interview went for you.
I mean, the crazy thing was I didn't even put it together until I was working on the article and had already talked to him. So I didn't even get to talk to him about this part of it. But I talked to him days after his first match in AEW for our first interview. And that is one of my favorite interviews I've ever done for multiple reasons. But the main thing I loved about it was not only like, am I a legitimate mark for this guy I've been watching since I was like 5 or 6 and I'm 40, but he was so just genuinely nice and not looking to play a character, and he just wanted to talk. And like if you listen to any of the clips that I put in with the article of our conversation with the newer one, I think you can tell that. Like he wasn't there to sell me on a storyline. And the second conversation we had, which was just days before his final match, is like that's tied for my favorite interview I've ever done alongside William Regal. And I loved it because there's 20 minutes of that phone call nobody will ever get to hear. Because we were talking about things that not only are not relevant to anything in pro wrestling because we were just chatting, but there are things that, like, he told me he didn't want it included, but just still felt like talking about it. And
nice
to have a guy that, like, I have his action figures still, want to just sit there and casually chit chat with me and not have it be part of like the job that we're doing. Like it was amazing. But yeah, like he gave me a couple of cool tidbits of information that I don't remember ever seeing anywhere else about the inspiration for his character, and I was so freaking happy about that.
Oh wow, that's terrific. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, that must have been an incredible moment for you. And and just everything I've heard about the man, just a God-fearing guy. And I've never heard anybody say a bad thing about the guy ever.
You said God-fearing. No, that man is God-loving. Like I'm not I'm not religious, but I respect the hell out of the way he uses his faith and platform to help people. Because like he genuinely is trying to help you whether you're a Christian or not. Like it's not like he's out there preaching. He just cares about everybody.
Yeah, that's terrific. So yeah, and he's going to be here in Las Vegas in a few weeks too. So
Nice.
he's going to be here WrestleMania weekend. So just to remind everybody, I think of the Vegas Toy Show. So opportunities for you to get to meet Sting. So just keep that in mind and get some tickets and check that out. Should be a pretty awesome time. So congratulations on that opportunity for you, Doc. I'm happy for you.
And I've done dozens and dozens of these interviews, and I've talked to like every big name in AEW, and it never really stops being fun. Like I don't get starstruck. Like I'm never awkward talking to these people. It's just really fun.
Yeah, it is. And I think once you get to talk to somebody, maybe this is a little inside baseball-y stuff here, but once you get to chat with these guys and ladies, then when you get to go out and you see them perform, and especially in a moment like this, I couldn't imagine that, it just makes it that much more special, you see this retirement match, and I couldn't imagine to a point what was going through your head that, you just talk to the guy and now here's this moment. And to a point, you felt like you got to share with him a little bit.
Well, like he literally told me in the interview, he's like, oh yeah, like I'm going balls to the wall. Like I'm not holding anything back. And I'm watching this man go through a pane of glass. And I'm like, yep, he wasn't lying. Man is 64 years old and doing things I cannot do at 40. Like, come on.
Yeah, it was an absolutely incredible night. And, what are your thoughts on that match? I mean, there's some crazy stuff that happened in there. Of course, Darby doing that insane spot, but and Sting really put himself through it. There wasn't any screwing around in there. Certainly, a lot of people, thought that, he could maybe, hide a little bit, but there was no ducking the action for him in this one. He went out there all the way. And Darby left him alone for a long time after that spot. It was pretty incredible.
I think he kind of had to, because the doctors were like, we have to seal that cut.
Yeah,
that one on his back, on his lower, but like the thing on his shoulder was nasty looking, but they left that uncovered. The cut on his lower back, I'm fairly positive they were like, we need to get that sealed right now, and that's why you didn't see Darby in the match for like a few minutes after that crazy ladder glass spot. But yeah, like I guess if you're going out, maybe you're not thinking about injuries and longevity anymore, and you're just like, I'm gonna do this because I want to and not worry if there's a consequence to it. Like, I'm sure he wasn't going out there thinking like, oh, I might die, but it'll be fun.
Yeah.
But like, there's got to be a little bit of a weight off when oh, this is my last match. Like, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, it was funny because I had just interviewed Darby when they were here for AEW Collision, and when I talked to him about the stuff that Sting was doing, he was like, "No, dude, I had no say in any of this, and I didn't encourage it. I didn't push him to do anything. He wanted to do all these things. All this stuff was his idea, and I just stood back, and he did what he wanted to do." And that was it. And I just enjoyed the show. I mean, that was fascinating to me because you would have thought he might have been a little imp on the shoulder and said, yeah, maybe we could do this. But no, this was all Sting's idea, taking all these bumps all over the place for all this time.
And for all this time is exactly it. Because I asked him in the second interview, I was like, so is Darby kind of responsible for breathing any like new life into you and giving you like a willingness to do crazy spots? He's like, honestly, no, I've been diving out of the ring, my head first into tables and chairs and all that since 1985. Like, he's like, me taking risks has always been part of the game. And he started like listing off spots and stuff. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, you know what? He's right. Like, people think of like Jeff Hardy and Darby Allin and people like that as like these risk takers, but Sting was doing that stuff really early, and he was a big powerhouse who didn't need to do any of that.
Right.
Like, he was a bodybuilder who looked like $1 million. He could have gotten by on power slams and leg drops and headlocks like Hulk Hogan did. He chose to actually throw every ounce of himself into it. And the fact that he didn't even want to be a pro wrestler makes it even more incredible that he went that extra mile all the time.
Yeah, what an amazing guy. And we're gonna miss him. And but I'm sure he's gonna be out there. I know he's gonna be doing a lot of stuff with his faith, and it should be
flipping houses.
And flipping houses. He's going to still be making money out there. That's for darn sure. So we'll be seeing a lot of that man doing his thing. But boy, I'll tell you, wouldn't be fast. I know his kids probably don't want to do it, but I can't imagine somebody's not going to be throwing some money at those guys to get in the ring at some point.
Well, okay.
I mean, they looked the part. They really did, didn't they?
So I didn't know that the one who was Surfer Sting, who dressed up like the blonde hair and everything, I didn't know that he was a relatively well-known Twitch streamer.
I didn't know that either.
Like, it's like Overwatch or one of those games he plays a lot. And I guess he never made it really all that clear that Sting was his dad. And so when he took a hiatus from his Twitch stream, he came back and was like, oh yeah, guys, I had to go help my dad retire. And people are like, wait a minute, I've been watching you for years and had no idea that you were Sting's son.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So
wow.
Like, you know what though? Good on him for just going out there and making his own name and not relying on the fact that he had a famous dad. Like, hell, that's great.
That is awesome.
And then the other one who was Wolfpack Sting, like, that dude's ripped, man. Like, they're both in great shape. But the one who was Wolfpack Sting, like, he had some definition to him. I would not be shocked if you were right and somebody came to them and was like, let's train you up and get you in this. And for all we know, that's the plan. One or both of them may actually want to do something.
Yeah, boy, there's definitely some money on the table.
I would think so.
No doubt about it. I'll tell you what, I think that's a really good spot for us to take our first break here, Doc. So why don't we do that, and then we'll come back. We'll talk more Revolution and maybe get into a little bit of what's going on with WWE too. So let's step back. We'll pause here on the Mark Hoke Show. We've got Doc Chris Mueller from Bleacher Report on the show with us. It's the best in pro wrestling news and entertainment on Mark Hoke Show on KDAWN 101.5 FM Talk Las Vegas. If you have any questions, hop in that chat box on the Mark Hoke Show on YouTube or Facebook. And, of course, follow us on X, Twitter, at the Mark Hoke Show. Stick around, everybody. We've got more. We'll be right back.
That's the sound of Carl's Jr.'s all-beef patties being charbroiled. That's the sound of crispy bacon. That's the sound of pepper jack cheese melting over top. Yes, that makes a sound. And boom, that's the slightly weird sound of barbecue sauce squirting out of a bottle. And that's fire. Fire that just shot out of my mouth from the jalapenos, lighting my curtains on fire. Get a spicy Western bacon cheeseburger, a regular Western bacon cheeseburger, or a famous star, all for just $5 each through the My Rewards app. Need burger? Get burger. The fire department is here. My Rewards members only. Tax not included. See app for terms.
Understanding the many things in a mother's life affecting her pregnancy is important. You can help improve the health of all mothers and babies in Nevada by completing a Pregnancy Risk Assessment Monitoring System survey about your recent pregnancy. Also known as PRAMS, the survey is from the Nevada Division of Public and Behavioral Health and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The survey asks new moms about their experience before, during, and after pregnancy. Responses are confidential and used to help improve the health of mothers and babies in Nevada. If you receive a PRAMS survey, please share your story. Learn more at nvprams.dpbh.nv.gov. That's nvprams.dpbh.nv.gov. This message, sponsored by the Nevada Division of Public and Behavioral Health, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
In Nevada, anything that goes into the storm drain goes directly to our local waterways, which can pollute Nevada's lakes and rivers. Nevada is the driest state in the nation, and we must work together to preserve our limited water resources for future generations of Nevadans. Here's some waterway wisdom so you can help do your part. Scoop your dog's poop, bag it, and discard it. Clean up yard waste and grass clippings. Wash your car at a car wash or on grass or gravel. Apply pesticides and fertilizers sparingly in your yard. Safely dispose of household chemicals. Clean up leaks and spills. And don't litter. Secure trash in bins. Keep contaminants out of our storm drains. Use waterway wisdom. And remember, only rain should go into the storm drain. Join us in preserving Nevada's waters for future generations by visiting lovenvwaters.com and following us on social media.
This message funded by a grant through the Nevada Department of Transportation, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
Unsafe sleep conditions cause serious injury and even death to infants. Never sleep with your baby on a sofa, in a chair, or in an adult bed. Protect the baby you love from becoming a tragic statistic. The only safe place for your baby to sleep is alone, on its back, in a crib, and in your room. For more information, visit cribsforkids.org. That's cribsforkids.org. This message is sponsored by the Division of Public and Behavioral Health, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
101.5 FM KDAWN.
This is the Mark Hoke Show.
The Mark Hoke Show.
Here again, your host, Mark Hoke.
And we return to the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN 101.5 FM. It is the talk of Las Vegas. Best in pro wrestling news. We bring you all the best people in the industry, performers, journalists, and all sorts of stuff. We got one of them for you right here. Doc Chris Mueller from Bleacher Report joining us on the show. And Doc, I wanted to just, there's some other things I wanted to get into a little deeper in AEW, but just overall thoughts on AEW Revolution, because a lot of people said this may have been AEW's best pay-per-view in a while. What'd you think of it?
You know, I kind of feel like I hear that from somebody for every AEW pay-per-view. Like none of them are ever really bad, you know? I had a great time with this one. I thought a lot of the results were relatively predictable, but also the logical outcomes. Like, you know, it's pro wrestling. You're never going to really be that surprised. But yeah, there were some really great matches. Swerve, Joe, and Hangman, that was a thing of beauty. I mean, we talked about the Young Bucks and Sting, of course, but Yeah, I kind of had fun from start to finish. I don't really think there was a bad match on the card or really any that were like mediocre.
Yeah, I know. I read some people were criticizing the Samoa Joe match just because they didn't like the story in it. I mean, what did you think about that criticism on that match?
Well, to me, the way the story was told actually benefited everybody because what it did was it allowed Hangman and Swerve to basically tell their own internal story in that match, right? But then you have Joe, who's a champion who's going to retain and needs to be protected. So basically, you have Hangman and Swerve worried so much more about each other that they made it easy for Joe to come in and win at the end. So I actually kind of knew that was how it was going to play out. Like, I'm pretty sure I wrote it in a prediction article and definitely mentioned it on Fightful pre-show with Rob Wilkins and Maggie. It was a very obvious way to do it, and I thought it was done well.
Well, there you go. So now coming up with AEW, Will Ospreay, Okada in here now. Things are getting very interesting with this company, and now you're coming off a massive pay-per-view, $1 million gate on this, and it appears that the momentum is starting to come back. Your thoughts on the future of AEW? Because, a lot of people said AEW is starting to slip. We've seen some attendance figures kind of at some of the events. How are you feeling about where they are now? And with the influx of these two guys, man, there's some incredible potential here for where AEW is going to go, especially now with the Rainmaker and Will Ospreay stepping into the fray.
I mean, I got to be honest. Anybody who's overly analyzing the ebbs and flows of AEW, a 5-year-old company, is nuts. Like, we're talking about a man with NFL owner money. He doesn't care if he makes a profit off AEW. He has publicly said that. AEW is a passion project. It's not their income. So AEW is going to be fine for a long time, whether they go down in ratings and lose some fans or get huge. Like, and frankly, pro wrestling as a whole is incredibly healthy right now. Like, WWE is better than it has been in a while, and it's been firing on all cylinders. I do have some problems with some of the things going on, and we can get into that, but sure. But AEW, yeah, they're doing great. And bringing in Okada and Ospreay so close together, it was definitely a big 1-2 punch. It kind of reminded me of when Danielson and Punk sort of came in not that far apart.
So, okay, now you got me intrigued. Talk about these problems. What are you seeing?
You mean WWE?
Yeah, what we can get into that a little bit.
Do we need 45 minutes of The Rock making crack jokes and calling? Like, I am a fan of The Rock. Like, I think he's one of the better entertainers to ever do pro wrestling. But, like, I've never wanted 45-minute promos from anybody. And when it's just repetitive stuff over and over and over, I keep thinking to myself, and we only have one women's match this week. Again. Like, I know it's the biggest storyline they've done in years, and Roman and blah, blah, blah. But you can tell that same story in a much more condensed segment. I just think that The Rock, I know it's part of the character, but maybe the man is also a little bit of on an ego trip right now.
It's funny because I said that a few weeks ago too. And apparently they had to cut him off this week. And that last segment ran really long. I like what they did last week. I thought that was pretty good. And the social media promo I think he did, there were some points you could have cut some time out of that, but I thought it filled some holes in, and I felt like it helped. But the whole thing about Cody not deserving it, I didn't think that made any sense. But you mentioned about the women, and one thing that I'm looking at right now is, there's not been a lot of development for the women for WrestleMania yet. We're not that far out. So, there's, we're missing, got a little LA Knight, little AJ Styles, but there's a whole card to put together, and now we've got Seth probably going twice. We've got Cody and Roman going twice. How about everybody else? And, and not that I'm not psyched about seeing where this is going to go, because there's a lot of cool stuff they can do. But at the same time, you've got the deepest roster you've had in God knows how long now, and you're not going to use it.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, we have a couple women's matches. We got Becky and Rhea, we got Io and Bayley. So we do know what the two main titles will be up to, but I mean, I do think overall, if you're talking about WWE comparing to AEW, which I hate doing, WWE might have an edge in the women's department because of NXT. The women get so much time in NXT, sometimes like more than the men on some weekly shows, and it's awesome. And occasionally WWE pay-per-views are fully 50% women's matches. So I think both companies have some work to do in that department for sure. But the depth of talent has never been bigger.
Yeah, and it's, and both of them have just an amazing group of performers. And, it's hard for both of them. I don't envy either company trying to find places for all the people that they have. It's a good problem to have for once. I remember, just a few years ago when I first started doing the show, I was just lamenting the fact that WWE just didn't seem to have a lot of people as options for main event talent. And now all of a sudden, here we are. I mean, there's a million people they could be putting in the top slots. And, we got this gauntlet match for Gunther. And, you could see out of those 6 guys, 3 or 4 of them that you could legitimately put in that Intercontinental title match, just as an example. And how many guys could you be putting up against Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins right now? There's a ton of them. I mean, it's an enviable position. And then AEW, my God, how many people could you throw into the main event scene right now? It's ridiculous.
AEW has a very top-heavy roster right now, and I feel like that may become an issue. Because you have too many people who the fans are going to want to have a world title reign, and Tony only books long world title reigns. Like, I think there was like one short one or two maybe, like, Punk and Moxley, that feud. But you got a guy like Ospreay, you got a guy like Okada. A lot of people want Danielson to win one world title in AEW. Eddie Kingston is somebody who has a lot of support to be a world champion. You even have guys who've been there for longer, like Pac.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the people who've already been world champion. Moxley, Jericho, Omega. They're all potential champions again. Swerve better be the next champion, though. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, they've done an amazing job with them. Of course, we're on the Mark Hoke Show here with Dr. Mueller from Bleacher Report. And, speaking of another name, man, we got Wardlow, who is supposed to be the one that is going to be handing the championship to Adam Cole. There's 2 more names. And Wardlow's getting the shot at the title. Does he win it?
No.
No?
No, I don't think so. I would love it if it happened. My friend Maggie is his future wife. He doesn't know it yet, but she does. And I like Wardlow. I've interviewed Wardlow. Dude's great.
Yeah.
and he's super talented in the ring too. Like, he's actually way more versatile than AEW allows him to be because of the way they're booking him as like dominant 2 power bombs and you're dead kind of guy. But yeah, I don't think they're gonna pull that trigger. I think he's gonna be a good opponent. He's gonna lose, and then maybe he'll chase the Continental Crown or the TNT title or the International title. Like, Wardlow will hold more gold, but it won't be a world title for a while.
Yeah, this is going to be it. It'd be fascinating. It would be fascinating if he did. Like I said, it's just like he said, it's just so many options that they've got, and but with Swerve being so hot, and there's still another guy out there named MJF that's going to be back sooner than later. So, it's very, very intriguing possibilities out there. I did want to ask you a little bit real quick about this Kevin Kelly situation. What do you know about what's happened with this whole thing that Kevin Kelly is apparently on the outs as the announcer for Collision with AEW? What happened with this whole thing?
I actually don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah. Apparently he's not going to be there was some controversy with him and Ian Riccaboni with some Twitter comments about the Sound of Freedom movie, and apparently he's out.
Was Kevin Kelly trying to like? You know what? I don't even want to know.
Yeah. So, but that's still getting settled. That news just broke, so I didn't know if you knew anything about that yet or not. So,
no, but I'll be honest with you. I've never really thought Kevin was a good fit with the other people there. Like, he's a great announcer at his job, but Ian and Excalibur are kind of like AEW's 2 main guys for that. And then they sort of have all the other ones, like you got a Taz or Jericho sitting in once in a while. Nigel's great. I love Nigel.
I do too.
Like, hater of the year. That guy is like Bryan Danielson. Bitterness will never not be funny to me. And I just love that guy so much. And I just think that Kevin Kelly was never really a right fit. And so if Ian's going to take his spot or whatever they're going to cycle in and out, like, it might be better for the show. Like, all the controversy, whatever aside.
Interesting. Well, yeah. So we'll see where that all ends up. It's kind of sad, but so Kevin Kelly apparently on the outs at AEW. And now back to WWE a little bit too. As the road to WrestleMania is shaping up, and aside from everything that's happening with The Rock, we kind of a little sidebar on that. Some other intriguing things going on. But we mentioned all these guys doing these in the 3 different wrestling twice and all that crazy kind of stuff. What else are you looking forward to on this card, and some other things shaping up? Because there's some pretty intriguing stuff going on. This stuff with Kevin Owens and Logan Paul and Randy Orton looks like could be kind of fun. I mean, you got the 2 biggest traitors in WWE history could be stuck in the same match. That could be entertaining.
Yeah, there's a few things shaping up that could be potentially good. I mean, I hate to do it every time, but like, I can't stand Logan Paul, and yet I have to acknowledge that he puts in a lot of work and actually like does well. That hurt. But anyway,
oh, that's great.
Like, AJ Styles, LA Knight, that'll probably be a night 1, middle of the show kind of match. I really, really hope they stick the landing and have R-Truth and The Miz win the tag titles, because I just want R-Truth to have a WrestleMania moment. Like, that guy, R-Truth, the fact that he is getting more love than ever in his career for the past few months because of all the Judgment Day stuff could not make me happier. I have been such a fan of him for a long time, and not because of the comedy. Like, he's a legitimately great wrestler. First black NWA champion. That man is actually like kind of a living legend in a lot of ways. And the fact that he could at 52, I think, be getting like, you know, a title win at WrestleMania, that's great.
Yeah, I know there were some people that were trying to come up with a scenario with him winning the world championship, which would I couldn't. Could you imagine that happening?
I mean, what? Like, they could sell me on the idea of R-Truth just not knowing how the Money in the Bank works and just stealing it from Damian and trying to cash in and getting a 3 count and running around with the title, and then the ref is like, you can't do that. Like, I would love that so much if R-Truth got a 3 count on Roman Reigns or something, and then they were like, no, you can't, you don't get the title, man. But the whole, like, that's another thing. Damian and the Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
I kind of think WrestleMania might have a cash in.
Well, it kind of has to. I mean, so I was talking in the first hour that it's probably, I would imagine it's probably going to happen on the first night. I would think that Seth's going to get beat up pretty bad, and Damian's got to cash in. You know, don't know what's going to happen with Seth for night 2, but that would, I mean, like I said, there's so many possibilities the way this is getting set up, but I would think that that's probably the most likely one. Even though I did have somebody call into one of our shows here on KDAWN, our Sports X radio show that's on from 6 to 8 here, Monday through Friday, that said, yeah, Damian Priest is going to walk out with the Universal title. And I just sat there like, you got to be kidding me. I mean, that would just be unbelievable. But I do more see a scenario that he gets it off Rollins on night 1 after this tag match. That would seem very likely to me.
But then, do you think then it's Damian versus Drew on night 2? Because
it would kind of have to be, wouldn't it?
See, I think we're getting Seth and Drew. I just think Damian's going to cash in either in the middle of the match or right after it's over. Now, Drew is so freaking hot right now, too, that I could also see them just putting the title on him and not having Damian cash in. Like, Damian can hold that thing until I think it's June when Money in the Bank is. Like, he's got a little bit of time left.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I could see Drew winning the belt, too. And frankly, I kind of want Drew to win the belt. Like, have you been watching any of the stuff he does on social media?
Oh, it's crazy.
Like, him taunting the fans with the CM Punk music the other night killed me.
Yeah, he's been absolutely amazing. And I don't think his contract, he's still not under contract as far as we know, right? I would think he is. But
I think the report is that, like, they've talked and things are looking good. It's just not official. But I'm never really one to care about the contracts that much. Like, I know it's going to affect the storytelling and whatnot, but I also know WWE is going to do what will pop a rating. So if, let's say, they know Drew's not going to work out a deal, I could absolutely see them having Drew win the title and then Damian cashes in on him right away.
Yeah. Yeah, that would make sense, but that's going to be part of the fun of this year's WrestleMania, to say the least. It is going to be very, very unpredictable. But one thing we do have to predict is I got to get a commercial break in here. Doc, did you want to stick around for the last segment? Or
yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's wrap this up here. We got one more to go with Doc Chris Mueller from Bleacher Report. I'm Mark Hoke on the best in pro wrestling news and entertainment, the Mark Hoke Show. Stick around, everybody. We got a little bit more to go. We'll be right back here on KDAWN 101.5 FM, the Talk of Las Vegas. We're streaming worldwide on the Odyssey app, and we're also live on Facebook and YouTube. And just saw a comment came in, so we'll check that out for you as well. We'll be right back.
Listen to the Texas Corners Bible Church every Saturday night at 7 p.m. and Sunday night at 10 p.m. on 101.5 FM.
I'm Stacey Marsh. Dad and I want to welcome you to experience the warm hospitality of the Skyline Hotel and Casino on Boulder Highway off Sunset. You will enjoy great food, grade A choice steak dinner for only $14.95, $2.50 shrimp cocktail, a steak and egg breakfast for $6.50, and so much more. Skyline offers beautiful spacious rooms with oversized TVs and fireplaces. They have been rated 9+ by Booking.com. You will find over 50 coin drop machines, a private poker room, an in-house barbershop, and sportsbook. Free bingo every day at 10 a.m. and live entertainment 7 nights a week and on Sundays from 2 to 5:30. But there are a couple of things that our competition has that we don't. Resort fees and parking fees. Skyline Hotel and Casino is conveniently located on Boulder Highway off Sunset. Remember, if you don't drive here, you can't win here. So visit the Skyline Hotel and Casino, where everybody knows your name.
Ready for your next vacation? Not so fast. Before you hit the road, remember these healthy habits to keep yourself and others safe and sanitary. Wash your hands after using the restroom, before eating and after blowing your nose. Sanitize airplane seats and tray tables. Sneeze or cough into a tissue or your elbow. And avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth with unwashed hands. Lastly, make sure you're up to date on all your routine vaccines, including the COVID-19 vaccine. It's also important to get tested when necessary, such as if you develop COVID-19 symptoms before, during, or after travel. If you'll be traveling to visit someone who is at a higher risk of getting very sick from COVID-19, or if you're in a situation with a greater risk of exposure during travel. Pack these tips on your next adventure. And remember, travel safely, Nevadans. This message is sponsored by a CDC grant through the Nevada Department of Health and Human Services, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hey, Nevadans, prescriptions can be expensive. Let the Array RX discount card be your solution. Now available to all Nevada residents. Simply sign up for free. Show your pharmacist your digital card and save money. Receive discounts of up to 80% on certain medications. There are no age or income restrictions, and it only takes a minute to enroll, so you can get back to doing what makes you happy.
This message funded by a grant through the Nevada Department of Health and Human Services, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
If you live in Clark County, you are at risk of developing non-smoking lung cancer. Radon is a naturally occurring radioactive gas that gets into homes and increases one's risk of lung cancer, and it exists here in Clark County. Radon is colorless and odorless, so the only way you know if your radon level is elevated in your home or office is by testing. To get your free test kit, visit our website with a new interactive map to find a pickup location nearest you at www.extension.unr.edu/radon. 21,000 people die of lung cancer each year, and Nevadans are at a higher risk. If an elevated level of radon is found, there are ways to reduce it and lower the risk of getting lung cancer. Get your free test kit today. Visit our website with a new interactive map to find a pickup location nearest you at www.extension.unr.edu/radon. Sponsored by the University of Nevada, Reno Extension's Radon Education Program, and aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
Tune in to Real Estate Live with the Real Estate Guys, Aaron and Jacob Taylor. We're keeping it real, we're keeping it current, and we're keeping it fun. Las Vegas' #1 real estate show. Catch us every Saturday at 3 p.m. on 101.5.
The Real Estate Guy.
101.5 FM KDAWN.
You're listening to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Vegas, The Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Now, here again is Mark Hoke.
And we're back on the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN 101.5 FM, the talk of Las Vegas. One of these days, I'm not going to do these setups at 5:30 in the morning, and I'm just going to leave it at that. Doc Chris Mueller. That's his name. Oh, golly gee whiz.
Thank my friend Peggy for that.
Thank you. I would have seen it eventually. That's all good. It's all good. I'm a professional, kids. What can I say? Anyway.
He's one of them.
Yeah. It's all good. Well, having a great time with Doc from Bleacher Report. And of course, you can check out all his coverage on Bleacher Report. And Doc, I wanted to ask about this Intercontinental Scramble real quick. I had a couple of little tidbits before we get out of here. But who do you want to win this thing? I'm curious because I have my favorite, but of course, the winner of this gauntlet match gets Gunther. It's Ricochet, JD McDonough, Sami Zayn, Chad Gable, Bronson Reed, Shinsuke Nakamura. If you had to book it, who's your guy?
It depends on if we're booking the winner to beat Gunther or not. If the winner of, I don't know, I really want it to be Chad Gable. I know it's probably unlikely, and I think besides him, Bronson Reed. I think
Cool.
Big Bronson would be a great Intercontinental Champion, and after him not getting a special moment in Australia, I think it's something that would be really good for him.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. Yeah, I'm rooting for Chad Gable too, but I want him to win. I think it would be a terrific moment for Chad, and after everything he's done for WWE, I think that would be one of those you deserve it moments. So I'm down with Chad Gable, but I just but I wish Sammy would get a big moment too. He did last year certainly, but I just wonder if somewhere down the road there's a bigger moment waiting for him. So I don't know. I feel like Sammy. I feel like they missed that opportunity last year with Sammy at Elimination Chamber, but we'll find out. But that's just me. What else do we get? Oh, Brock Lesnar's back on the roster page, by the way. Did you see that?
Yeah, I heard about that. I don't know if we're gonna get him at Mania. I feel like we would have seen him by now, but maybe not.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that they even did that at this point. And you're trying to get keep Vince out of the spotlight here, and then you throw Brock back up on the roster page. I was like, oh, okay. I think I just let it go, but I guess I figured they got to figure out a way to, they want him there. I don't know. That one kind of struck me as a little bit of a surprise when I saw that this week. And of course, if you don't know the situation, Brock was somewhat named in that lawsuit with Vince McMahon that started all this whole thing that got him out of the TKO group. So yeah, Brock is back on the roster page. So interesting situation there. Everybody's pitching a fit about, and by the way, I've got a bottle of it right here. We'll give them a little plug there. We got the bottle of Prime. The Prime logo was on the WWE ring. Logan Paul and KSI apparently struck a pretty big deal, and we have a sponsorship logo in a WWE ring, and everybody is crying foul. But of course, in every other sport that's got a ring, there's logos all over the place. What did you think, Doc? Is it okay to have a Prime logo in the WWE ring?
I knew this was going to happen eventually. I can't remember if I just mentioned it or wrote a whole article about it, but I talked about how WWE was very clearly leaving money on the table for sponsorship opportunities, and at some point they were going to capitalize on it. Aprons, barricades, the middle of the ring. I'm old enough to remember the Slim Jim logo in the middle of the WCW ring.
Yep.
And I don't necessarily have a problem with sponsorships. I have a problem with how ugly that one looked.
Yeah, they could do a little better on that.
Like, the Slim Jim logo never took away from the attention of the match. That Prime thing is like a vinyl shiny sticker and brightly colored. I don't like it. If they're going to do it, they should do it with like a logo painted into the mat that's more subtle, like they did with Slim Jim in WCW.
There you go. Well, hey, we're going to wrap it up. So I wanted to give everybody a chance to tell everybody where they can find you, my friend.
You can find me on Twitter at BR_doctor. You can find all my work on the Bleacher Report app or bleacherreport.com. I occasionally pop up on random podcasts and shows all over. So yeah.
Awesome. Hey, I want to thank you for coming on the show. A blast. Now we didn't have to do anything crazy. It was an awesome time. Thank you for coming on, Doc. I really do appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. And that is going to wrap up this edition of the Mark Hoke Show. Thanks for being with us. Guys, give us a follow on X, Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, Facebook, The Mark Hoke Show. Subscribe to us on YouTube at The Mark Hoke Show and markhokeshow.com. Keep up with the show. It's pretty simple. We try to do that for you. Guys, we'll see you next week as the road to WrestleMania continues. Have a terrific day, Las Vegas. We'll catch you next time here on 101.5 FM, The Talk of Las Vegas. Want more of The Mark Hoke Show? Follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, like us on Facebook at The Mark Hoke Show, and visit markhokeshow.com to keep up with everything happening with the show. And remember to check out all of our archive shows on YouTube at The Mark Hoke Show and download our podcasts at markhokeshow.podbean.com and all your favorite podcast outlets. So join the Mark Hoke Show family today, and thanks for listening.